Hi, this is Louise from Butterfly Dolphin Crochet, and today we're going to talk about some of the projects I've finished and some of the projects I've got to start and some yarn that I've got. But before I do start, I want to apologise for the last couple of weeks. I haven't posted anything yet. Been a bit busy with work and a few other things, and haven't made time to talk about the few things that have been going on in my crocheting world. So anyway, where to start first? I think in the last tutorial or podcast, I said I was gonna talk about the Grassmarket Shawl, which is this one, and show you when I've finished it and talk to you about the different dimensions that it's come out with. It's come out a lot bigger than what I thought, so I've had to cut a few sections out. The actual pattern says there's 4 sections of both the solid section and the lace section. I've only done 3, and I've reduced it a little bit in two of the last 2 sections. And I've used a little bit more wool than I thought I was going to use. This is what's left of my third yarn, lot yarn. And I think if I can remember rightly, there's 273 yards in each cake that you get. So this just dropped on the floor. So I've probably got most of, but just under 200 yards left of the third cake, so you don't need a lot of the third cake. But once you got, it was quite easy to work up and quite easy to make. So once you got into the flow of it, it did work out quite quick. And I think one of the other reasons why I think I've cut out the last 2 sections was because I used different sized hook and a different type of yarn. So the yarn itself, can't remember where the label went, is classed as a medium weight number 4 yarn, and this says to use a fine yarn. So I think that could be also a reason why it's worked out bigger, because it's actually a bigger yarn. I think it probably needs like a number 3 or number 2 weight yarn, and it'll probably work out at a better sizing towards what they say. And I also used a sized 5.5mm hooks. That's what they recommend on the label. So that's worked up quite nicely and quite quickly. And the only thing is, I don't quite like the feel of the actual wool itself, but it looks amazing. So anyway, the dimensions I've worked out for the if I can get the top of it, it works up as saying along the top at about 51 centimeters, which is about 20 inches. And lengthwise, I'm not going to hold it up against the camera because it is way too long. It works out to 145 centimeters, which works out at 57 inches. 145 centimeters and 57 inches. So I'm kind of glad that's over. I might make it again, but I probably wouldn't use date nights for it. I might use a softer yarn for it next time around. Or yeah, but it looks nice, and I hope my aunt appreciates it when she gets it for Christmas. So yeah, that's that done. And the other thing that I've finished this week, in the last couple of days, is my purple and black poncho. That works out at I used 4.5 balls of the Scarpy yarn, So you will need 5 for the size that I've made. From top from the collar down to the first point, I've measured it at being 80 centimeters, which is 31.5 inches. And to arm, I ran out of tape. It was that big. It works out at just over 61 inches. Roughly. My tape measure runs out at about 60, so I'm assuming it's about 61 to 62 inches. I'll convert that into centimeters later on, and I'll put that in the description box for you. And from each point, there's 4 points. They all measure up at 44 inches, which is 111 centimeters. It's quite nice and soft, and it does keep me quite nice and warm. I'm assuming that's the wool that's in it. So as you can see, it fits me round quite nicely. I'll also put some pictures around of the actual yarn, because I did take some pictures of me wearing it. Or my mum did anyway. So I'll put them in the video, so you can have a look at what it looks like on me on. What I've got left over, I might put some fringe on it, so you might get some more pictures in a later date podcast with the fringe on it. So they're the 2 main projects that I finished this week. My friend's poncho, the green one that I've been using with Ferris wheel, I'll show you that in the next podcast, because I've nearly finished that. I've stopped increasing on the actual poncho and just paused that, because I wasn't sure I was going to have enough to do the collar. I've done a similar collar to the one on my poncho. I know the lady that I got the pattern off, she hasn't done a collar, she's put a hood on hers. So there are other methods, so you don't have to put a collar on, but I do advise you put something around your neck. Whether you put the hood on, or if you put a collar like I have. I'll also put, actually no I won't, I think I put the tutorial from Crystal on my purple and black one, and the colour that I put on that is the same colour I put on my green one. So just follow what she's done on that part of the tutorial. I think she does it towards the end of the tutorial. So yeah, but that's all up to you. I know my mum's put a different colour on than I have on hers. She's put double crochet around about 6 or 7 rows, where I've done treble crochet. Well, I started off with double crochet and then did 3 rows of double crochet, but the last 2 were back post and front post, which give it a bit more of effect, and it's quite nice actually, and does keep your neck quite warm. I was wearing my one yesterday, and it was quite nice, and I was wearing it this morning. So they're the 2 main projects I finished this week. I've also been doing my Christmas mats. I've started a few of them, because I'm trying to get most of these ready to send off. So I've got my uncle's set sorted, pretty much. These measure at, I think, if I can get my piece of paper, made all little notes, I know what I'm roughly talking about in this tutorial. This mat measures at about 45 centimeters width-wise, which is 29 inches, and height-wise, 17 and 3/4 centimeters, and which is 11.5 inches. So yeah, 11.5 that way, inches, and 45 that way, and that's using the King Cole Glitz in colour Christmas. I've made this one slightly bigger, so the other one's just smaller. I've made another one. I've made them 3 because there's 3 in their family. So I might make them another one if they have another baby later on. And I've also made 3 of these for them, which is little coasters to match. They are 14 centimeters, which is 5.5 inches in diameter, because they've done in and around, and that's going from point to point. So I've got a few more to do with them. I've got, I think, after I've done that set of 3, 4 for us, and so another 2 for someone else and 2 for my nan. So in other words, I've got about 8 more sets to make. So that will take me a while to do, but at least 6 of them I don't need to rush too much to get in the post. I can probably sit in Christmas Eve and end up doing hours, which probably most likely happen, knowing me. And the other thing that I was going to talk about was Amelia's Christmas present that I made for her. Amelia's my baby cousin. Because I can't remember if I have or haven't talked about it yet. I used Lion Brand ice cream yarn. This is cotton candy colour, and it's a lightweight number 3, 394 yards. I think I bought 4 balls of it, and I made her a blanket. Again, I'll link in pictures around the screen of the actual blanket, but I've used what's called the ripple stitch. I'll link in the tutorial for the actual main ripple stitch, but when I was coming to finish it, I've squared it off to make it into more of a blanket, and then I've added the shell stitch around the edge. I say shell stitch, it's called the scallop stitch, I call it the shells, but I've added a scallop stitch border around the edge of it. And that goes all the way around, and I actually quite like it because it actually brings it a bit more to life. Especially with the colours, because it does change into colours nicely going around. Now this measures roughly about the same all the way around, actually. Before the actual border, it measures 76 in the width, which is about 30 inches. 79 and 31 in the height, so it's not too small, but it's big enough to put a newborn baby on top of it. So if you do end up wanting the size of a blanket, that's how big I've made it. And that's before the border. With the border on, it works out at about 81 to 81.5 centimeters, which is about 32.5 inches. So it squares it off quite nicely, adding the border around it. So I would advise doing that. And for this, I went through just over 2 full balls. I've got probably about 3/4 of a ball left and a full one. So I could have made it bigger, but I wasn't sure if bigger was always going to be better. And I might always make something else for a birthday out of the rest of it. And it is quite nice and soft yarn, so it will be nice against her skin, so hopefully she'll enjoy that when she's a little older. So that's all the projects that I've been finishing up and getting ready to send off for Christmas presents in the last couple of weeks. And the other thing that I was going to talk to you about was when I started learning to crochet. My nan must have told my grandma, my aunt crochets as well, so she knows about the book. But they both got me a book called The Good Housekeeping Crochet. It literally talks about every possible stitch basic. It even talks to you about the basic different stitches, how to do each one, how to chain on. Yeah. It even tells you how to do your seams and your edges, how to add new yarn, how to work in the circle or in the round. The next thing I'm going to start thinking about doing is the Tunisian crocheting. So yeah, it even tells you how to increase and decrease. Then it goes and talks to you about the different sizes of hooks you can use and the different terms and abbreviations in which we all use. And then it goes through the basic stitch patterns and actually shows you a picture of the actual basic stitch and tells you how to do it below. So this is how I actually learned how to read patterns. It then goes and tells you a few more, and it also then tells you a bit more about textured ones. So for example, raised dots in a pineapple stitch, so it looks like pineapples. So if you ever see this book around, I would advise to get it. It also tells you how to do colour patterns, so it'll show you different ways to add different colours. I've done that once before I had the book, and I haven't quite done it with the book yet. See, now it also the ripple stitch. I could have done something similar called the principal stitch, which looks like that one. I think that could be a next pattern on mine. I might turn that into a cushion, but we'll see. Then it goes through and tells you about open work, which is lace work patterns. So I'll go and talk about that. It does talk about different things, and it also goes and shows you how to do granny squares, I call them. So it tells you different types of one. The one I tend to use a lot of, I don't have one here, I don't think, is what a few people, well, this book says it's an American square, which is clusters of treble crochets worked in the circle and turned into a square. I love doing that one. It's quite quick and easy to make. So yeah, I might, because I'm making a blanket for my bed, like a show-off blanket, I might do a few of these other squares over Christmas, and actually might put it into my into that blanket just to show off a bit, and then I'm going to do like a fancy edging around it. Cause I haven't decided which one, but I might go through this book and actually have a look at which ones to do, because they show you, look, there's absolutely loads. This whole entire section, I think there's about 10 pages back and front of different ones. The one I tend to use a lot is the scalloped edging, because it's quite easy and quite quick to do. But I don't know which one to use on my show blanket, so I think it also depends on how much of the white yarn I've got left to use. So I will recommend that book. I'll see if I can find it on any sites that I tend to go on to purchase things like this, and I'll link it in the description box. So yeah, and recently in the last couple of weeks I've been getting some more yarn, so that's what I'm going to talk about now. Now I've got these directly from Lion Brand's website themselves, because I'm signed up to their newsletter, so they will send me emails every now and then of when they've got offers on. Most weekends they have a offer on called the 4 bowls for $10, which works out $250 each. So recently, me and my mum have both got shawl and a ball. No, shawl and a cake. There's shawl and a ball, but that hasn't been on in the part of this deal recently. So we ended up getting shawl and a cake. I got a couple bowls of that back in the summer, mainly to do something for my best mate because she tends to go out a lot. So I was gonna do something fancy, like a scarf or a shawl in it for her, which I've ended up doing a scarf shawl thing for my nanny out of it in the end. But I did get another ball in the same colours for my friend, and I might end up doing a similar pattern, which I am doing the same pattern for someone else, but in a different colour for a Christmas present. The colour that I'm going to originally did the pattern in was this one. It's called Moonstone, and it goes from literally blues, whites, and a bit of red in it. It works up quite lovely. I'll show you what the picture shows you as it works up. Now this says it's a medium weight number 4 yarn, but it's quite a fine yarn, as you can probably see on there. But I like this version because it's got metallic running through it. It's got a bit of glitter to it, and in the right light again, it does show off quite nicely. So me and my mum got, I think, 12 balls full of 4 of each colour. So we've got 4 Moonstone ones, 4 of these ones. This is called, where's it gone? Main State Naturals. And the other colour we got was Lotus Blossom. I can't show you the label of that because I've started using this one. That's the colours it works out, and at the moment I'm making like a scarf, a very posh scarf, let's say, very lacy. That's what it roughly looks like. It's the same pattern that I ended up doing my nanny's shawl scarf in, but I ended up doing it double the size, so it's more of a wrap round / you can scrunch it up around the neck and keep it a bit more warm. So in this pinky one, the Lotus Blossom one, there is like a pink, I don't know if you can see it very well now, like a pink sparkle going through it. It's literally goes through the whole entire string. I haven't completely used this yet. Well, I haven't got to the colour changes yet to see how well it blends. And then the Moonstone one blends quite nicely between the 3 colours it has in it. So yeah, hopefully this will be quite nice in the pink colour, and that's going to be for a Christmas present from my uncle's girlfriend. Now each ball contains 150 grams, which is 5.3 ounces. It's 481 yards, which is 440 meters. It's 61% cotton, 34% acrylic, and 5% of another fibre, which is the metallic that's going around it. Which does change colour depending on which one you've got. So this has got like a gold one going through, there's a pink one on the pinky one, and the Moonstone one has the blue one in it. Now we got 12 balls for $53. Now we got 4 for a $10. So that's what? That's $30 plus $23 for shipping. So we had to pay for shipping, but even with the shipping, it's still in English currency, which is sterling. pounds sterling. It worked out at just under £40 for all of it. So it worked out at roughly, I think, £3, £3-4 per bowl or per cake. Whereas if you bought it off one of our sites over here, it would have been at least about anywhere between £8.50 and £10.50 per cake. Now, yeah, we did have to pay some taxes on it, which I think worked out at about £5-6 on top of it. So the whole thing came to £45, £46 for 12 bowls of yam, or 12 cakes. But you get quite a lot of yardages out of it. So they've just had another sale of these ones. So I've just got another 4 of these, and I've got 2 more of the other colours. I think I've got a grey one, grayer one, and a complete full-on blue one coming through. And I think I've got an idea for one of the blue ones for another friend. So I'll keep you up to date on that one. They also have quite a lot of other yarns on for sale at the moment in the same category, 4 for $10. So I've got some other ones coming through with that one. So yeah, that's about it for today's podcast. I hope you've enjoyed some of the yarn I had to talk about. And when the other yarn comes, I'll talk to you about them ones. Bye for now.